Toronto, my friends. We are in full autumn splendor, as you can see behind me, and it's also almost Halloween, which is exciting. I may actually be dressing up. Let me know in the comments if anybody can guess what I am going to be for Halloween. But as always, guys, let me know if you can see me okay, if you can hear me okay. Haven't done a live stream in a little while. Hope I won't be rusty. Why actually isn't it updating? I see a message from, okay, there we go. Yodano, Danny Wu, David, Robert, amazing. Okay, good. We should be good. So yeah, guys, I am still here in Toronto. I was actually supposed to be gone by now. I was supposed to have applied for my Bulgarian visa. For those of you who watched my latest video, that is the country that I'm planning to move to, Bulgaria. We can talk all about it in this live stream, but yeah, I was already supposed to have submitted my paperwork by now, but I still haven't even got my paperwork, so that is what I'm waiting on right now and hoping to receive in the next week or so. So that is the situation. Hello to Shannon in New York. Thank you for coming out. Allison in Halifax. Rahul, thank you so much for coming out. Sahil from India. Thank you very much, Big Mac. Thank you, Radist, for the welcome to Bulgaria. Very kind of you. Yeah, okay, so obviously that is the big news. We will get into that in just a second, but I was on this beautiful side street and thought I would start here because this is my favorite season. I am an autumn girly, and the weather here in Toronto, I guess that's one really positive thing, is it has been so nice. Like earlier today, it was over 20 degrees. I actually feel a little bit hot in my outfit, but the leaf changing scene going on is just beautiful. So let me give you a little bit of a look. Some people even got their Halloween decorations going on here. Super nice. And if some of you hadn't heard of this neighborhood before in Toronto, it's called The Beaches because it is very close to a few different beaches on the east side of the city. This is a really nice residential neighborhood as well, really popular with families. Wouldn't be the kind of place that you would go if you wanted to be in the action and close to downtown. It literally took me an hour and a half to get down here, so not the area that you want to stay in if you want to be close to the center, but if you prefer to kind of have a quieter, you know, probably safer area of Toronto, this could be a really good area to consider living in. Actually, the last time that I was here in Toronto, I was staying in Leslieville, so I was kind of close to this area, but still closer to downtown. But yeah, now personally, I would say that I prefer living in the West End more than I do the East End because it is a little too quiet for my liking, to be honest. But we'll get into the business section of the beaches first, and then of course I will take you guys on the actual beach boardwalk right near sunset time, and I think it's going to be really, really beautiful because we have that really sunny weather and it's really nice out. So that is what the plan is. But while we are walking, and it's not that interesting just yet, let me catch you guys up on the changes in my life if you haven't seen my most recent video, which, yes, I am still planning to move, trying to move. I see my mom is here. Привет, спасибо, что пришла. I was actually just chatting with my mom earlier today. So yeah, trying to move is the adjective of the moment, but more than likely, at least what I've been told by Marcella, my consultant, and then also my lawyer in Bulgaria, it should be fine. Like, I have basically all of the requirements that they're looking for to be approved for the visa, which took a long time. Like, we started June, right when I got back from Singapore. We started on the paperwork, so we're June, July, August, September, October, so about 5 months. 5 months we've already been processing everything. I had to do quite a few things on my end. Like, obviously you have to get like a police background check. You need like a bank statement, you need photographs, you need to have like a proof of a place to live. So luckily, since Marcella is, Bulgarian, she was actually able to help me kind of, have a temporary situation until I go there myself and can, find the right apartment for me longer term. So there's a lot of moving pieces to get to this point, but ahead of me is also so many moving pieces and things that I will have to still do even once I move. So, this isn't the kind of decision that anyone should make lightly. And obviously I have a lot of reasons for choosing to move at this time, primarily the fact that I want to be in Europe. Like, of course, Bulgaria as a country I love, but the main thing that I'm moving for is just to live in Europe, because I think it will just be a better, base for me in the coming years. I don't know if I'll live there forever, but for the coming years, I really look forward to being able to just hop around Europe. And then with Bulgaria, it's a fantastic country. I love the people. And the taxes and cost of living is relatively low. So I figured that, this would be a good place to kind of get my start. And then once I spend more time in Europe, I will be able to maybe consider other places. Like, who knows? You don't really know how things will go until you give it a try, right? So we will see. Let me just flip the camera here as I read your comments. We're just at Woodbine Avenue, which, if you followed this down, is the start of Woodbine Beach, which is like the main first beach. So I'll show you guys that in a minute. Later on. Alexander says you can swim to Turkey. Well, not quite, but yes, Turkey is very close to Bulgaria, which is very convenient considering Istanbul is such a great airport, right? Like, you can fly all over the world through Istanbul, and there's like, 5 to 10 flights a day out of Sofia to Istanbul for like super cheap. So it's a great gateway beyond Europe. But of course, within Europe, there are so many direct flights from Sofia for super cheap. So one of the big reasons of why I am making the move. Thank you, Big Boss Jay. Love your content, Alina. Will you visit Edmonton again before you leave Canada? Unlikely this trip. I don't know why I would go there at this point in time, but I don't know. I guess anything could happen, but probably another time that I'm in Canada. Shannon says no shortage of pot stores in Toronto. You got that right. Like, my God, we have one on basically every corner, and I don't know how they honestly stay afloat. Like, I know some people who do that sort of thing, but I also know most people that I know don't. So I don't know how they are able to keep a business. Oh, this is cute, right? This is one of my favorite things about the beaches, is they have all these really great little patios, lots of great little restaurants. Just this whole strip is really, really nice. Aw. Thank you so much to my lovely friend Alex for the super chat. So sweet. I actually just had dinner with Alex, a few days ago, and Alex, I think the restaurant that we went to last year was in this area, right? It was a Mexican restaurant, though I can't remember the name of it. So lots of good memories. Thank you so much for the support as always. And also a very big thank you to my great friend Shigeru from Japan. Thank you so much. Hello, Alina. I'm very glad to see you again. By the way, it has become much cooler in the mornings and evenings in Tokyo. The autumn leaves will soon be changing color. Oh, really? They haven't yet? I would think that at this point in time, Japan should be in like full swing autumn, which, by the way, is my favorite place to experience autumn because, you know, places like Kyoto and stuff is just absolutely stunning in the fall. So I hope you guys have an amazing leaf changing season. Thank you so much for your support. Very sweet. Let's see here. The heck? Sorry guys, I'm just having an issue with my messages kind of not moving. Oh, thank you so much to Harriet, Jim, and Yuki, Costas World of Music Memories. Thank you for the lovely Toronto postcard. Thank you so much, guys. I'm glad you got it. I'll actually be sending my next postcard. It's on Patreon, by the way, for anybody wondering. I'll be sending my next postcard in a couple of weeks, and it's a really cool one from Calgary. So if you guys want to get in on that, join my Patreon. I have a postcard club where I send cards from all over the world, and this next year, obviously, with traveling Europe, there's going to be some real good ones in the mix. Okay, so I see some really good questions. I'm going to first flip the camera so you guys can look at something else other than just me, because technically we are here to look at the beaches and skeletons. Halloween haunted house. Oh my gosh, this would actually be really good. Nana's Creperie. Oh my gosh. Actually, I was just with a friend a few days ago and we had a really good crepe cake. And I'm wondering if that's what they have here. This looks good. Oh my goodness, might have to come back. All right. Ooh, Burger Priest. That's another really fantastic Toronto staple. They have a few different locations. I actually didn't know that they had one here in the beaches. Very nice. All right, so I'm gonna, as we walk, answer the question that I've seen pop up a couple of times now, which basically, to summarize, is why would you leave Canada and move to Bulgaria when a bunch of Bulgarians would be more than happy to basically switch spots with you and move to Canada? Well, first of all, each to their own. Second of all, I love Canada. I've loved living here. I might come back someday, but for the time being, it just makes so much more sense for my business and just, you know, location wise for me to be based in Europe. Like, as I was saying, it's really inconvenient and expensive to be buying one-way international flights every single month, you know, whenever I want to go out and do my job and film content, compared to if I was living in a central location in Europe and I can just go film for 2 to 3 weeks, come back, have a home base, not have to spend an arm and a leg for rent, groceries, and all the other things that are stupidly expensive here in Canada, and be able to work remotely, because at the end of the day, I don't need to be in Canada to make money. So at this point in time, it doesn't really make sense for me to pay 2 to 3 times the price that I could pay living in a place like Bulgaria or, you know, Thailand, as I was considering before. It just makes a lot more sense for remote workers, unless they're making a crazy amount of money, to be based in a lower cost destination. Now, having said that, you know, I'm sure Bulgaria will have its own challenges, and there probably will be things about it that I don't particularly like. You know, it's very different visiting a place than actually living in a place. So I can't say how I'm going to like living in Bulgaria because I've never lived there. So it's just going to be one of those things that will take it as it comes. And I'll be able to kind of update you guys on that once I have the experience. But what I can tell you is that I have lived in Canada, you know, for quite a long time. Not full time in the last 5 years, but, you know, coming back here for usually 6 months of the year, there's been a lot of really negative changes that I'm not particularly happy with. So I hope this will be just a passing thing. I hope things will improve. Jesus. But for the time being, I just feel like it doesn't make sense me paying those super high costs when I'm not there half of the year. And I'd also be taking accommodation away, you know, from all the people who definitely need it. So technically, you know, Bulgaria is a country whose population is declining. Like, they're not getting the population surplus that we are here in Canada. So, like, in a way, you know, it's good for them too, because it brings in more money into the country. And I don't think there's as much of, like, you know, a housing crisis there as we have here in Canada. So, you know, some people could argue with me on that point, but overall, I feel like it is a win-win. Okay, so many people commented about that. Let me read your comments as I show you some of these cool little local businesses. Yes, definitely, Melissa, you live and then you learn. We can't always learn first, that's for sure, but the only way you will learn is if you try things. Brian asks, if Canada was cheaper, would you live here? Yes, I guess that would make things easier. Like, if it was the same price as Bulgaria, that would definitely change things. Might actually push me to, you know, deal with the long flights whenever I would have to go out, but that would still kind of be the thing, is if I want to have the same work-life balance, is I'd still be doing basically 2 international overnight flights every month, which isn't the worst, but wouldn't be my favorite, because I am not someone who deals with jet lag super well. It usually takes me like a week to kind of adjust to a place, so I feel like I'd be adjusting for half of the month, which wouldn't be ideal. When I'm kind of traveling within Europe, it's so much better because there's only maybe 2 to 3 hours difference, you know, across the whole continent. So it will just be easier mentally and physically on that level as well. Let's stop here in the park for a second. Vero says, if I were young, I would go outside of Canada. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know why some people make such a big deal about it. Like, yes, of course, it has taken so much time and money and, you know, stress. So I'm not saying it's the easiest thing to do, but even when you're a younger person, to do something like, you know, working abroad for 1 year, like there's lots of working holiday visas for Canadians, kind of similar to the one that I did in Japan when I was 20. Like, they're not usually that difficult to get, and they give you like working permission in the country, so, you know, you don't have to have as much savings when you go. You know, Australia has working holiday visas. I think the UK has working holiday visas. So, you know, if you're a younger person, I think it's a great idea to try and live abroad for a year or so, because it definitely opens up your worldview and you get to meet new people and, you know, just have a wider perspective about what could be possible for you. So in a way, I'm kind of doing that again at age 33, except it is a little bit more permanent, right? Like I am actually moving, I'm trying to move my life over there, and it's not most likely going to be just for a year, unless I really don't like it or something else comes up. I will actually try and, you know, give it at least a few years, but ideally 5 years, because at the 5-year mark, I'm able to apply for permanent residence. And that would be like a nice thing to have, whether I use it or not, right? To be able to have like a PR somewhere in Europe, that would be very, very nice. Wow, so many nice compliments. Thank you so much, Alexander. 33, you look 23. Don't think I quite believe you, but you know what? Thank you. I appreciate that. No, I am not married. That's one of the other reasons why I'm able to just make decisions on a whim, is because technically I don't really have to ask anybody, right? That's one of the nice things about being single. Shannon asks, are Bulgarians more, I think you mean courteous, right? People than Canadians. I found Canadians generally nice when I've been, but I've never been to Bulgaria. Depends what you call nice. For sure, Canadians are super nice on the outside, and as far as just like strangers on the street, absolutely Canadians are much more friendly, I would say. And I'm not singling out Bulgarians when I say that. I kind of group them into Eastern Europe, where no, they are not the friendliest people, you know, right off the bat. They're usually just very neutral in their approach to strangers and, you know, foreigners. But I think once you get to know them and once you actually build some deep friendships, I think they can be incredibly warm people. So I already have, you know, a few Bulgarian friends who are really, really lovely. And I'm excited to, you know, make new friends in the places that I explore in the country, as well as obviously other immigrants and like other digital nomads who live in the country. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. Hey now, Ivan says Canadians are nice outside but not inside. Bulgarians are nice inside. No, I mean, I think Canadians are nice on the inside too. I've actually found, you know, most Canadians to be really lovely people. It's just they can be, you know, like a little bit fake, you know, sometimes. Because, I mean, I'm fake sometimes too, right? Like, I might be having a really crappy day, but if the cashier's like really happy to me, I'm not going to take out my stuff on them. I'm going to pretend to be happy back. And I guess that's a little bit fake, but, you know, that's how things work here. Look at all these cute little boutiques that they have here. Nice local. Oh my gosh, I actually like that coat. I know orange is usually not my color, but I actually really like that. So many great local businesses. Oh, one thing that I meant to say when the live stream started, but I didn't. Jim Ross, who is not able to be here right now, but sent me a PayPal. Thank you so much for the support, Jim. Hope you are doing all right driving back home, and yeah, we'll definitely see you at the next one. And then I saw a super chat from Stan. Thank you so much. Hello, Alina. Glad to see you relaxing. Good weather and people on the move. Bulgaria is a good home base to have. Thank you so much, Stan. And I agree. I think it will be a good home base. And I think that's actually the one differentiation between, you know, actually moving to Bulgaria and having Bulgaria as a home base. Like, in a way, I'm not getting the full experience of living in Bulgaria because I'm only going to be there probably half the year. And second of all, I'm not really working in the local economy, right? I don't have a local job. I don't have to learn the language right away. Like, sure, I will learn it as much as I can. And obviously, like, I might even hire some locals to help me with my business, but it wouldn't be the same as spending the whole year there, you know, really trying to settle down, working in the local economy. That would be a much more immersive experience than the one I'm likely going to have. So it is a good differentiation to make that I'm using Bulgaria as a home base, not, you know, building my forever home, at least at this point in time. Ronnie, you ask a good question. How can you walk and read comments at the same time? Not well. It's actually very hard, which is why I stopped. Actually, I have gotten better, but yeah. All right, so I was gonna turn onto the beach here, but let me actually go a little bit further and then we will turn onto the beach. But this is basically the main drag. Like, this is Queen Street East. Usually there's supposed to be a streetcar that goes down here, but I think, I don't know, they're having some kind of issues, because that's why I started where I started. The streetcar short turned and there wasn't one that came along. So I don't actually know if the Queen Street car is going down here now or if it's buses or what it is, but usually you can get down here by just taking the Queen Street car. Looks like we got some live music going on tonight. Starship asks, is Toronto better than Vancouver for living? Well, that's a very, you know, personal perspective kind of question. Obviously, I would prefer to live in Toronto, primarily because I know I couldn't handle the weather in Vancouver. I do not like that much rain and overcast skies. And, you know, to be honest, other than, okay, also it's more expensive, so that's another negative for Vancouver in my opinion. But then fourth, I guess, is that they do have a substantially worse, like, drug kind of problem than Toronto. Like, Toronto has that too now, but Vancouver with Hastings Street and just a really lax attitude around drugs is not something that I like. So for me to ever live in Vancouver, I would have to have that situation be a lot better. So that's another reason of why I actually chose Toronto, is that it's not quite that bad in that regard. JQ, come back to Saskatchewan, we miss you. Thank you so much, JQ. I will come back when it's not winter time. How about that? Alex asks, how is your father doing? He is doing overall good. Thank you for asking. I talked to him a few days ago. They're just finishing up harvest right now, so he's, you know, working some really, really long hours, but he's doing good. And then Kane makes the comment of, your dad will enjoy a holiday in Bulgaria, and bonus, his daughter has a place. Their heart? I think I understand your comment, but yes, yeah, absolutely. My dad will be visiting me in Bulgaria. And funny enough, before I was even considering moving abroad, but it was in the time that I had visited kind of the Balkan region in 2020, my dad mentioned to me just offhand, he's like, you know, I was very impressed by Bulgaria. He's like, it looks like a really nice country. You know, I don't really know much about it, but from your videos, it looked really nice. And I was like, yeah, it definitely is such a great place. It's definitely, you know, underrated on so many different points. So now he will be able to actually visit me there and, yeah, have a place to stay, since I am planning on getting a 2-bedroom apartment so I can have family and friends come and stay with me easily. Just reading your comments here, guys. My mom is doing good, for Vero asking. She has some plans of her own, of some changes that she's making in the coming, you know, years and stuff. But, you know, she hasn't nailed everything down just yet. So, you know, I don't want to speak before things get figured out. But yeah, overall, she's doing really good. She's really happy for me. So all good there, thankfully. So a lot of people were asking, you know, why didn't I choose Romania? I saw one. Why didn't I choose Poland, like all the other places in, in Eastern Europe? And I did more or less touch on all of that in my video, where I went over all my top options in Eastern Europe. I think it's only like 3-4 videos back. So if you guys want the specifics, it's all in there. But basically, like, Bulgaria fit so many of my requirements in comparison to those countries, when it came to primarily, you know, the cost of living, taxes, having a social security agreement with Canada, and, you know, also having a Slavic background. I guess Poland has a Slavic background, but, you know, Romania, it would be, you know, a bit different. Not that different, I'm sure, but, you know, with the language and, yeah, I think they don't use Cyrillic, right? I'm like 90% certain in Romania they don't use Cyrillic, but let me know if I'm wrong. So, you know, just a few different reasons. I just felt like Bulgaria was a better option. And Romania, actually, now that I think of it, it was the taxes. So it was because they changed their tax regime that it'd be, you know, quite a bit more expensive that way to set up my business there. So that's why Romania didn't work. But you guys can go watch that video if you want a more specific, detailed answer. Big thank you to Norman for the super chat. Hello from Los Angeles, Alina. Thank you so much, Norman. That is very kind of you. I've actually never been to LA. Hopefully somewhere that I can visit. Just one sec here, guys. It is a gorgeous evening, isn't it? Like, look at this beautiful weather that we have. The temperature is honestly also really, really perfect. And yes, you are right, Alexander. I didn't know this, actually. A few people commented in my last video that yes, Bulgaria, because it is one of the oldest countries, they did invent the Cyrillic alphabet. I did not know that. That is super cool. That's, you know, the letters that, you know, we use in Russian and Ukrainian and stuff. It's the same alphabet, so I can already read that. I can kind of write, not well, but kind of. It's just to understand what everything means. That's the problem. But, you know, to be honest, there are a few words that are similar. Like when I was looking at real estate postings on the Bulgarian websites, and when they'd come up in Bulgarian, I was like, oh, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Like, I think I know what that means. So there are certainly some words that are similar. So that is nice. But yes, like I will absolutely visit the, you know, all the different countries in Eastern Europe and just Europe in general. That is going to be my main focus for content in the coming years. So even though, you know, I'm living in Bulgaria, I will absolutely be visiting and, you know, making content on all of these countries. So don't you guys worry, I won't be missing out. I'm going to try my best to go to so many different places. But of course, I won't just do just Europe. I actually do have plans for some other trips, and, you know, who knows what other opportunities will come up. For sure, maybe next year, I would do a trip in like Central Asia. I think that would be so cool. Like to do like Kyrgyzstan, Mongolia, even Georgia. You know, I've been saying for the longest time that I wanted to go visit Georgia, which was technically a place that was on my possible move to list, but, you know, just didn't fit the requirements that well either, but would love to visit. Go. All right, guys, so now we are getting into the best part of the beaches, which is the beach. Surprise, surprise. This is absolutely one of the best attractions of the city because it does go on for a pretty long stretch. I think the boardwalk itself, I read, was almost 4 kilometers. And yeah, during the summer especially, it gets so busy here, especially on the weekends. They have a lot of water sports stuff going on. And depending on where you're located in the city, it is easier to get down here than, let's say, Toronto Island, which would really be the only other place that has extensive sort of beaches here in Toronto. Like, look at this. And this is middle of October, right? Just like crazy. We even got people out there kite surfing. So insanely nice. Speaking of insanely nice, thank you so much to my lovely friend Dean Ninjetti for the ridiculous super chat of $500. I think that's the limit, Dean. Thank you so much. Hey Alina, I think it's time for another shopping spree before you depart Toronto and mercilessly leave behind a trail of broken hearts. Oh my goodness, I didn't know there was a whole trail of them. Thank you so much. Honestly, I don't know what to say. Thank you so much, Dean. That is insanely generous of you. Yeah, honestly, guys, the community that we have on here is just wild. So I don't even know what to say. Thank you so much. One sec here, guys. I think Dean broke the system here with his super chat, so it's just pausing on me here for a second. Okay, 1 second. Give you a beautiful view as I figure this out. Okay, there we go. Now we're back in business. I feel like I could actually walk the boardwalk that way really, really fast. So let's walk down this way first, and then we will turn around afterwards. I'm gonna have such a long ride home. Like, oh my God, it's probably gonna take me 2 hours to get home if the frickin' Queen streetcar is not working. It looks like there's some other people that want to be sponsored by Dean in the comments. Actually, just had a thought of, like, speaking of streetcars and public transit, if we can believe it, it looks like Canada might actually be getting its first proper high-speed rail in the coming years. Maybe somebody can let me know in the comments if they have any concrete info, but I've seen a few videos on YouTube now saying that it's almost a done deal, that finally there's going to be like a train between Toronto and Montreal that's actually going fast, like, 300 kilometers an hour, whereas now I think it's about 150, 170. So that would be really, really exciting, because apparently Canada is still the only country that doesn't have high-speed rail. So that would be great to have some proper high-speed trains here in Canada. Randy says, not anytime soon, Alina. What? One can hope. I hope. Sophia subway system is brilliant though, EEEQ says. Yeah, honestly, I haven't taken it enough to be able to give you a full review, but while I was in Sofia and used the metro system, it was great. Like, super cheap, obviously, less than $1 per ride, and I think a monthly pass is like 30 or 40 bucks. Yeah, and it looked like it worked really well. So that and walking is how I'll be getting around the city. Look how beautiful it is. But all things considered, I will miss Canada. I will miss Toronto. I already know that. Like, there's a lot of, things that Toronto has that, Sofia doesn't have and that Bulgaria doesn't have. Primarily, the people here and the culture. Like, even though I chose Bulgaria because it is, a Slavic culture, and I'm sure I will have lots in common with them, but you guys know that, I'm pretty Canadian. So I am curious of how that will be long term, of how well I will integrate. But, like I said before, you don't really know until you try. But I do know that there will be plenty of things that I will miss here in Toronto. So who knows, I may be back, but for the time being, we'll just have to give it my best shot, right? That's what we have to do in life. Got another kite surfer out here. He must have a wetsuit on though, I think, because even though it's fairly warm out, I think the water's pretty cold. Has anybody actually tried that? I have a feeling it'd be quite difficult. Like, I've done water skiing back in the day. It was hard. So I imagine this would be a lot harder because you're kind of controlled by the wind and have to be able to guide the kite. But a part of me would want to try it. Aw. Thank you very much to Emerson for the super chat. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. There is a comment that is very important to mention and was one of my fears actually initially, but I think it should be fine. Obviously this would be an actual problem if this isn't the case, but should be fine. So it was Tech World BG says YouTube does not pay well for clips from Bulgaria. Did you know this? That's if your channel has a primarily Bulgarian audience. YouTube, generally speaking, and I've had friends, who have moved from different countries and, set up different AdSense accounts, once you have a tax number, once you move. It's not actually about the country that you're in. It's about where your audience is from. Like, that's how YouTube pays me now. For example, like if I spend a lot of time, I don't know, let's say even Brazil, right? Like when I was in Brazil, unfortunately, they don't have a high CPM. So when I started getting lots of new subscribers from Brazil, of course, I'm so happy and like grateful, for the locals coming onto my channel. But generally, those views will not make me as much money as if I had viewers from Canada and, USA, or maybe the Nordic countries or something like that. So that's actually what it's based on. So even though I will be converting my, AdSense account eventually, not right away, once I move to Bulgaria. But most likely my amount, I don't know what happened. I just went over here and the live stream stopped. So I think I should probably go back. And now it's like super, super windy. Oh my God. Can you guys hear me okay? It's so windy right now. What the hell happened? Oh my God. I feel like I'm in a wind tunnel. What were we talking about? Well, first of all, can you guys hear me? Please let me know in the comments. Sounds okay? We can hear you now? Okay, good. All right, so yeah, I was just saying that how you get paid on YouTube is actually based on your audience demographics, on the views, how long they view the. You know what else Bulgaria has that Canada doesn't seem to have? Good internet. Jesus on a Christ. Why is the internet so bad in like a central part of Toronto? Like, how do you just lose signal? Like, how do you just lose signal? Like, isn't it supposed to be 5G here? Like, so freaking annoying. Anyways, okay, I'm so behind on all the comments here, guys, but to just end off the conversation, yeah, I hope not. Obviously, that would be bad. That would be real bad if the amount of money, that I get from AdSense changes when I move to Bulgaria, because obviously, it's not the only money I make by a stretch. I have plenty of other streams of income, but it is a good chunk of the money that I make. So if there was a significant difference and nothing I could change, just the sole fact that I moved to Bulgaria, like obviously I'd have to talk to YouTube, but yeah, that might be a reason that I would move back. But more than likely, my ad revenue should stay relatively the same, because I have a feeling my audience will stay relatively the same. Like, I've been moving countries for many years now, so I don't think it should be that different. So we'll see. Oh my God, what is with the sudden wind? It is crazy right now. Okay, I am going to try and catch up on comments as we walk back, and I'm so sorry if the sound is terrible. Sadly, nothing I can do about the wind in the present moment. Oh, but first, want to say a big thank you to Rahul for the super chat. So kind of you. Thank you so much for coming out as always. Really, really do appreciate you guys so much. And did I miss one actually? See, I think when my service went out, I think if I missed a super chat, please let me know, guys. No, actually, I think I did get all of them, but, or Vero, I think, did I say thank you to Vero? Thank you so much for the super chat. I think that's the one I missed, so very sorry about that. And thank you so much. Thank you to Willie Alaska. I really appreciate this comment. Darling, you don't have to justify yourself to others that seem to think that circumstances differ from one person to another. Thank you. Like, that's how I feel. Like, if somebody told me, you know, they're planning to move, you know, to this place, especially if they're not like, you know, my close friends, like, I'm not gonna freaking like try and talk them out of it unless I have, you know, a crazy good reason, and just tell them, you know, just stay where you are or whatever, don't change anything, like, don't go live your dream, you know, all of this kind of stuff. Like, sure, if you have a really good reason of what that person should be aware of, like when moving to that country, like, that's one thing. But there's some really negative people, like especially in the last video that I made announcing my move, and I'm like, what for? Like, what for? Like, what are you trying to achieve with that? Like, you know, and so what if I move back to Canada? Like, some people say, oh, you know, she'll be back in a couple of years. Okay, yeah, like, what's the big deal? I would have lived 2 years in Europe, lived my dream, changed as a person, like, had so many great experiences, and then yeah, I came back to Canada. Like, kind of a weird thing to try and make someone feel bad about, in my opinion. Just reading your comments here, guys. Oh, Homa just moved to Moose Jaw. Congratulations. But speaking of the move, like, I think I will probably make a video where I do ask, you know, for locals' help or other foreigners who have lived in Bulgaria, you know, for some of their tips about the country. You know, I kind of had put it off because I was waiting to announce where I was going to go, but now that I've announced it, yeah, now, like, if you are actually from Bulgaria, or, you know, if you've lived in Bulgaria for quite a while, absolutely, like, if you have any tips for making life better there, or especially like good real estate agents and, you know, reputable ways to go about all of that, that would be something that I'd be interested in right now, because I did have a few people message me saying that I have to be really careful, like, which companies I choose to deal with for real estate. So if anybody has, you know, some suggestions, please send me ideally an email. That would probably be the best way, though don't be upset if it takes me a while to reply. I will get there. So thank you very much. So this is Kew Balmy Beach, and to be honest, I don't know where Kew Balmy starts and ends and where Woodbine starts and ends, but I guess this is Kew Balmy right here. Exactly, Shannon, I agree. Moving is fun. Who wants to stay in one place forever? Not me. That's how I look at it too. Like, some people are just full out homebodies, and that's cool. Like, I'm not out here like shaming them, telling them that they should travel and tell them they're like missing out on life or something like that. So, you know, for the people who do want to travel, like, why you gotta shame them and tell them that, oh, you should be doing something else with your life? Like, each to their own. And exactly, like, everybody's situation will be different, right? Like, some people had a really positive experience living in Bulgaria. Other people had a really negative experience living in Bulgaria. Like, there are just so many personal factors that it is difficult to, you know how your time there is going to go. Thank you, Johnny. Alina, you are unstable. That's all. You know, honestly, I probably am to a certain extent. You're not wrong about that, but you know, that's okay. Oh my God, Jesus. I get slapped in the face with all these leaves. And I agree with Highway 2, Heavenly 91. Honestly, Canada's really expensive right now, so if you could get out, do so. Yeah, well, see, that's the other factor that I kind of considered, that even if, like, I don't live in Bulgaria long term, as long as I live, I would say, well, even 2 years, honestly, even 2-3 years, I will be ahead, you know, with how much money I most likely will save with the cost of living, with taxes, you know, especially my travel expenses. Like, that's a huge amount of money that I spend, right? Like traveling from country to country, especially when it's farther away, and trying to maintain a residence here in Canada. Like, I would spend so much money doing that. So even if I don't spend, you know, more than, I don't know, let's say 3-4 years in Bulgaria, I still will have saved more than likely so much money than if I would have stayed in Canada, that I can then come back to Canada and, like, I have a big chunky deposit to put down on a property here. Like, worst case scenario, right? Like, that's also another big benefit. So whichever way the cookie crumbles, I feel like the cookie is crumbling in my favor. Can't predict the future, but that's how I feel about it. Big thank you to Costas World of Music Memories for the super chat. Who messaged you on email? Oh, we messaged you on email about our friend who lives in Bulgaria, originally from Ireland. He would be glad to help you with any questions you have. Harry, Jim, and Yuki. Thank you guys so much. Did you just recently email me? Because your messages, obviously, I will make sure to reply to. But I haven't seen an email from you guys unless you just sent it. So please let me know about that. But thank you so much. And yeah, like, I do appreciate the support so much in Sofia. Like, luckily I do know a few people there personally already, so I should be okay. But yeah, if you guys have like any suggestions about reputable places for you know, real estate, because the friends that I have there, I don't think they've really dealt with a real estate agent in a while. So, you know, any more recent experiences, I would really appreciate it. Okay, you guys just sent it. Okay, great. Yeah, I will definitely read your email later tonight. No lifeguard on duty, so don't be stupid. Now we're really getting into the sunset time. I think the sun sets so early nowadays. It's like 6:30 or something. The sun goes down, but it's really nice. Thank you so much, the tip sheet. That is such a nice comment. I'm so glad. And I agree with Shannon. Frankly, our generation has about zero retirement potential in North America. It's a good, pragmatic decision to move. Absolutely. Like, that literally is one of the other reasons why I'm, you know, thinking early about this sort of thing. Because while I have contributed to the Canadian pension, even if I kept contributing to it, I don't think it's really going to be even close to being enough to retire within Canada. So I feel like I want to contribute as much as I can the younger I am. So I have my own retirement savings, and ideally I already want to have, you know, a permanent residency set up, maybe in a few different places, we'll see. So I can have those options for when I'm retired, right? That I can move in between places and I don't have to worry about getting all the different visas, right? Because while you can get retiree visas, you have to keep renewing them, and they can change the policies. And it's just so much easier if you have a permanent residency somewhere. So that's another big reason of why I'm making this move now, is so that hopefully in the future it gives me more options and has allowed me to put more money away so that I can retire comfortably. No, Alex. Even though, yes, I am still young, I do have to think about that. I think people don't think about retirement early enough, to be honest, because I see, people who start thinking about retirement when they're 40 or 50, and unless they have, a good chunk of money already saved, like, they get real scared because they should have thought about it a lot earlier. So I actually disagree with not worrying about that sort of thing now. I think at any stage of your life, you should always have a good nest egg of savings and investments, because who knows, in the future, like, heaven forbid, you might, I don't know, have a disability, or you might have some unexpected expense, and you want to be able to pay for that without having really high stress, or at least I would like that in a way. Look how nice this is. Absolutely beautiful night. And so cool to actually see, the leaves changing, also the sunset, and then the water. Those three things together, so beautiful. Awesome Guy says it's raining like mad here in Vancouver. Yes, exactly the reason why I could not live there. Absolutely, like, beautiful city. Like, there's no denying that Vancouver is a way more beautiful city than Toronto is, because it has, mountains, all around, and just the most beautiful nature in Canada outside of the city itself. But yeah, the rain, some people might really like it, but personally I can't handle it. So nice that the wind finally stopped. That's so nice, actually. I appreciate when genuinely talented people share their musical talents with everyone. Kate asks, have you thought about living in Spain? Not really, because I know their tax system is not fun from what I've heard, and it's quite high taxes as well. And then, in general, the cost of living too will be high. So it's just not a place that I have that much experience with, but maybe in these years of living in Europe, I will visit, and maybe I will fall in love with it. Who knows? Who knows? Like, one thing I will say, because I've gotten comments about this as well, is I agree. Like, taxes and cost of living are not the be all end all. They absolutely are not. Like, if you just love a place, even if it's expensive or has high taxes or whatever other problem, but if there's more good than bad that pushes it ahead for you compared to other places, then it's worth it, right? Then it's worth it. Then it's not a big deal to pay the higher price tag. I was just prioritizing those things because that is an important factor for me right now, right? Like, that might change later. But at this point in my life, when I'm still traveling around a lot, I want to be able to have a home base while traveling to all those different places. And it just makes sense that I'm not paying an arm and a leg to not live there half the year, right? So at this point in time, I have to prioritize those things because I am on a limited budget. Like, I can't just spend, you know, $2,500 a month like here in Canada for a 1-bedroom apartment. But, you know, maybe in the future, once I have my nest egg, right, once I have my investments, and maybe I can even retire early, then yeah, sure, then live in the place that you like better than anything else if budget is not a problem for you. So, you know, I totally understand why people would live in places that are stupidly expensive if they really love it and if it's not too stressful for them, you know, budget-wise, I guess. Let's see here. Did I miss? Oh no, I don't think I missed a super chat. That was Costas World of Music Memories, I think the last one. Shannon is asking all the good questions, so I'm going to answer her question again. She asked, am I celebrating Halloween? Yes, I am. And by the way, there will be a live stream and I will be in costume. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a great time. It's probably going to happen around the same time, probably about 5 to 7 p.m. Because at 9 p.m., my girlfriend, I'm not not that kind of girlfriend, but you know what I mean. She asked me to this really cool gala, and it's in a very special place. So I will absolutely need a costume. Initially, I was not going to buy a costume because I'm like, oh, it's a waste. I'm only going to wear it once. But then I realized I had another friend who has a whole bunch of costumes that I can borrow, and absolutely, I will dress up. So I'm very excited for Halloween, actually. Highway to Heaven asks, have I met any subscribers during my live stream? I have. Actually, just the last one I did. Do you guys remember in, what was the market? In St. Lawrence Market. There was a lovely gentleman who stopped me. So yeah, if you guys see me, come say hi. It would be lovely to meet you. Just, you know, please don't be weird or creepy and follow me home or something. Don't appreciate that. But just a simple hello, always love that. You guys see the big red Muskoka chair? It's a great chair. Thank you, Stan. I'm very excited for my Halloween costume as well. I actually don't know for sure what I'm gonna go as because she has so many different costumes to choose from. And it'll also depend on the weather, I guess. Back when I lived in Saskatchewan, Halloween was a really fun time. I did have a great time trick-or-treating as a kid, but almost always it would already snow. Like, it would already snow by Halloween. So the two options that you had is either you had to wear like all your winter gear underneath like your costume, or your costume's underneath your winter gear and nobody sees it. So that was the one sad thing about Halloween in Saskatchewan, is like you could never just wear your costume, you know, trick-or-treating, because it was always so freaking cold by the end of October. So here in Toronto, it's like perfect. So it will be nice to go out for Halloween in my old age. I don't think I've actually dressed up for Halloween at least 5 years. I think at least 5 years, probably even longer. I can't even remember my last proper costume, so I'm excited. All right. Well, guys, We probably have about 5 to 10 minutes left in the live stream because I will come up to the end of Woodbine Beach here. This is Woodbine Beach, by the way, even though they're all kind of like, you know, attached more or less. But this is Woodbine Beach, and it's kind of like the one that is most west, the one that you will see first if you're coming from the west. Obviously, I know 33 is not old, guys. I was being sarcastic.
It is old.
Come on now. It is? Really? Oh no. There's a passerby that said it was old. It's all relative, right, guys? It's all relative. Like, I plan on living to 90, so, you know, like, at least. So I'm, like, basically a third way through. So it all depends how you want to look at it. So as we're finishing up here, I would love to know in the comments, what did you guys think of this area? Because I don't think I have ever featured the beaches area in my live streams before because it is so far out. Like, I did Leslieville last time and kind of Riverdale area, but yeah, go all the way out here. It's pretty far. So let me know what you think. Like, does this feel like Toronto to you? Did you know that Toronto had stunning beaches like this? Like, the sand is pretty good. Like, it's, you know, it's got some tree stuff, it's got some rocks, you got to be careful, but the sand is pretty nice, and it is a great place to go for sunset. I really like the boardwalk that they have here, and then the neighborhood itself is also quite nice. So yeah, wanted to feature this lovely neighborhood in the city because I'm probably not coming back. I'm not gonna sit on a streetcar for an hour and a half each way unless I got a damn good reason. So yeah, this is probably going to be my last time in the beaches before I leave Canada for this trip. So a little bittersweet, but you know I will be back at some point. It will also start getting very cold, I think, even here in Toronto, probably in the next couple of weeks. And I'm a little bit worried about that because the stuff that I brought isn't super warm, and I thought that I was leaving by now, right? Like, I'm staying longer than I initially planned to stay, so I didn't take my warmest clothes with me. So I'm hoping that it won't be too cold before I have to leave. Oh, thank you so much to Costas World of Music Memories. This is the right call for you, Alina. Don't let anybody dissuade you from your decision. Trick or treat, enjoy it. Harriet, Jim, and Yuki. Thank you so much, guys. That's very sweet of you. And yeah, honestly, like, I'm not here telling other people that they should move or that, you know, Bulgaria is going to be the right country for them. Like, in no way. I don't even know for sure if it's the right country for me. I'm just going to try it out because I feel like I do need a change, and I do feel like this is something that I'm meant to do. We'll see how it goes. Hoping for the best. So yeah, I'm excited to share the journey with you guys. I'll keep you updated with how the visa process goes because, you know, I'm hoping to get that paperwork next week since my appointment is already rescheduled to the first days of November. So yeah, hopefully I get everything before then, because if I don't, like, I can't even think about it. It will stress me out so much if I don't get it by that date. So I'm not even going to think about it. We're going to hope for the best. And yeah, let me give you one last look here. It's so beautiful. It's so gorgeous. What a nice area of the city. And there you have it, guys. The beaches, a little bit of background of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Once again, really want to say a big thank you to each and every one of you for coming out, especially the insanely generous people who donated to my channel. Of course, all of the donations that I get here basically go back into my channel, where I get new equipment, or I pay for travel expenses so I can make this content for you guys. So I really do appreciate the support. Thank you all so much. And yeah, as I said before, I probably will have Halloween as my next live stream, and probably that will be my last live stream from Toronto. So if you guys want to see Toronto live one last time, hopefully before I leave, make sure you tune in on Halloween. It's probably going to be at 5 p.m. local time, but I'll post in the community board before I confirm things. So thank you guys so much for coming out. Had a great little walk and talk with you. And as always, keep being your own kind of beautiful. Bye, guys.